This is Dissecting the Market. I'm James. Whew, what a week we've just had. I hope you guys are all right. I hope you're not too scared and you're not bailing out of the market. This is the time to buy. This is a great time in the market. Be happy this has happened. Use this opportunity to set yourself up for the next few months. Now, this video is going to be a little bit different to my normal videos. I'm just going to be sitting here chatting to the camera. I'm not going to do all the usual graphics that I normally do. It's just going to be me having a chat with you about the stocks that I bought this week, what I've sold, why I think the market's pulled back, which is probably a little bit different to what everybody else is saying or what most people are saying. So it's a little bit of a different perspective. So stick around if you want to hear what I've got to say. So after the crazy week we just had, I'm sure a lot of you are absolutely panicked and thinking, my God, have I made some stupid decisions? Try not to do it. This sort of thing is perfectly normal. This market goes up and down. If you know what to look for, it isn't as scary as what you're feeling right now. Remember, there will be green days. Those stocks that are pulled down will go back up eventually. So stay calm. As long as you're invested in good companies, you'll be absolutely fine. But this is a fantastic opportunity to completely redo your portfolio. While everything's down, you can now cherry pick whatever companies you want to buy for probably half their price. It's an absolutely fantastic opportunity. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about why I think the market is pulled back. And it's a little bit different to what I've heard on all the other channels on YouTube. Now, I may be just watching wrong channels on YouTube. I just haven't heard it mentioned anywhere. So for any of you that haven't heard this, it's probably something that you want to bear in mind, and hopefully it'll calm you down a little bit. Now, I'm just going to flick over to the chart and show you what I'm talking about here. So I just want to show you the charts here for a minute, and it's just to say something that I've not seen many people talking about. Now, take a look here on the charts. I want to show you something. This is where we are now, yeah? We're at the end of the month, okay? Now look what happens at the end of every month. So this is the end of February, look. It was nice, it was up during the month. Look here. This here was the end of January. And then look here. This here was the end of December. If we look here, end of November. Look here. End of October, look here. Every month we have this up-down movement, and it's at the end of the month, it's U-shapes, look, U, and even down here, if you look on the frequency of, the buy volume, it's shaped like a U. I don't know if you can see that, but it's U. So it's just something I want to point out to you, because I say no one really talks about this, but unless you've been shown it, you might not be aware that each month, towards the end of the month, there's a sell-off. It's just normal. It always happens. Now, we've been hit really hard this time because we're in that sector. We're in the fintech sector, which is the one that got hit the most this time. Although all the sectors suffered a little bit, we were the ones that were really hit. But that's going to be normal because we're the ones that have gained more than anyone else. So we're going to take a bigger hit. Now, I say that's not the only reason. Obviously, we've had the bonds and all the other stuff, the market rotation and all this other stuff, Corona, that has come into play. But I personally think this is just part of normal monthly up and down cycle. Now, I could be wrong, and there is still a good chance this could crash down more. At the end of the day, we are still in the middle of a pandemic. The market is still very high up, so there could still be a crash. So know that, moving forward, know that, and invest accordingly. Now, we're going to know over the next couple of days whether or not it's a crash or whether or not it is just the normal monthly thing. So if this chart is right and it is just the normal monthly kind of up and down rotation, then we know by probably Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, maybe even Monday, we should see green days again and we should be pushing back up again. Now, the other stuff might come into play. We need to watch it closely, Now, if it keeps dropping down, we know now we're right at the bottom level. We could probably do another day or two of red, another % or 2, 3, maybe. But any more than that, then okay, we need to start to worry a little bit then that there could be more of a crash coming. But at this point, you shouldn't be panicking too much because this is just normal. This is normal monthly stuff. And anyway, for those of you that didn't know that, there you go. Take that away. put that on your future watch. Make sure you keep that in the back of your mind in your future investing. You know that you can probably get out and in of things and maybe make a little bit more money than you normally do if you're just holding on to a stock. So anyway, that's what I wanted to show you in terms of why I think the market's pulled back, or one of the reasons that the market's pulled back that I don't think anybody else has really mentioned. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is how I'm dealing with this, what I do to prepare for stuff like this, what I'm doing now moving forward, what I'm buying, and basically how I'm preparing myself in case there is a crash, you know, because you need to be prepared for this stuff as well. You can't just say, well, it is just a monthly thing, because there is other factors at play. But at this point, to me, I'm looking at this going, well, this is just a normal monthly thing. By Monday, Tuesday, we should be golden. We'll see. We'll see where we are Monday, Tuesday. I say, but watch out for it. Now, you'll notice that my last 5 or 10 videos pretty much have all been on SPAC companies. And it's SPAC companies near the floor at $10. I've obviously talked about SPACs here. Probably a lot of you know about SPACs, but let me just tell you, if you buy a SPAC for $10, which is the price they come onto the market, they guarantee you your $10 back. If for some reason they don't merge with someone, they'll give you your $10 back plus interest. So this is a very safe place to put your money. It's almost safer than cash. It's very, very safe to put it into SPACs near $10. And you know what? You've got no downside or very little downside, obviously with a massive potential upside if they merge with someone. So I did a video last week before this happened to recommend buying NSTB, which was at 1070, I think, something around that mark. Really good company, by the way. And I'd said to you that I put quite a bit of money in that. And I also did a little piece on that video, which I don't normally do, but just to tell people to take profits, be aggressive, all that kind of stuff. I'm not sure if you watched that video, but there's a reason I was saying this stuff. You know, I said, take profit, move the money onto SPACs that are near $10. The reason being is because if something like this happens, the normal monthly rotation, then of course your money is mainly protected. So what do I do with these SPACs now the market's pulled back so much? So for me, it's my spending money. Most people, or a lot of the YouTubers, you'll hear them saying, oh, I've kept money on the side for times like this. Well, you know what? I don't keep any money on the side. All of my money is in the market. All of my investment money is in the market. None of it is in cash. But what I do instead of keeping it in cash is I put them into SPAC, common SPACs near the $10 target, basically with potential upside and no downside. To me, it seems better than keeping it in cash. And it also means that at times like this, NSTB, for instance, I sold off. You know, everything else has come down loads. Well, it gives me a chance to get into some of these great companies that I wanted to buy into that I missed out on. However, like I say, we don't know if the market is actually going to crash. Now, I don't think it will, but there's a chance it could. So I want to protect myself somewhat, but I don't want to miss out on all these great opportunities. So pretty much 90% of my money is in SPACs. But what I've done is I've sold off them SPACs that were near 10 that don't have confirmation of or any LOIs or anything like that. And I've moved it to companies that already have either a confirmation of a merger, or we know that something's coming up very soon and there's going to be hype around it and they're still really cheap. I'm not really spending more than $11 or $12 a share on these SPACs. This way, you know what, if there's a massive crash, 80% of the market's wiped out, well, I'm only going to lose down to $10, maybe 10%, something like that, maybe less. Really, if they've already confirmed, they're probably not going to go down to $10 anyway. But that's what I'm doing with my money. So rather than keep money in cash, I keep them in SPACs near $10. And then times like this, I sell them off and I can push chips. I can buy the stocks that I want to buy. So what have I bought? What have I sold? Well, NSTB that I recommended the other day, I'm afraid I had to sell that one. That had to go because, you know, we bought into that on the Monday. The merger was confirmed and the market didn't seem to care too much. Nothing much happened. Now, I did a video on that on Monday and I said that they were valued quite high and I didn't expect that stock to rocket up. I thought we'd seen some gains. I still do think we'll see some nice gains on it. Maybe 30-40% over the next month or two. However, there's much more exciting SPACs to be in that have come down way more that I want to get into instead of something like that that's obviously not been taken so well by the market. So for me, this is a great opportunity. It's just a brilliant time. I can buy all those stocks I want to buy into, you know, that I missed out on. Quite a few that had rocketed up and then cut. Brilliant time for me to get in on those ones that I missed out on. Now, I am staying clear of stocks like NEO, Plug. I have done for a long time now. NEO, Plug, Blink, Switchback Energy, all these ones that have been super hyped up, that are, you know, 4,000, 3,000% up. At this point in time, I am staying very clear of, because if there is a market crash, well, these guys are going to be hit hard. Even stocks like Tesla are going to be hit hard. So now I don't think there is going to be a big crash, but if there is a big crash, well, I need to make sure that I'm protected. So I would definitely personally stay away from stocks like NEO, I say like Tesla, those pumped up stocks that have gone so far that, you know, there's a big chance if they lost 50%, I would hate to lose 50% of my money. So there's just too many great opportunities out there to be playing with those stocks. So let me show you what I bought last week. I'm really excited about some of the companies I managed to get into. There's some great companies. So I'm going to run through a quick list. I'm not going to do my normal thing where I go into detail on each company, because obviously this video would last forever. But I thought I'd just go through very quickly and tell you about some of the SPACs that I've bought. And I say they're all in the $10, $11, $12 range. So we have a nice $10 floor there. So we're not going to drop too far if there is a big market crash. And hopefully, if there isn't a market crash and things pick up again Monday, Tuesday, I'll see some lovely gains from these stocks. So the first stock I picked was FRX, Forest Road Acquisitions. Now, I did a video on this about a week and a half ago. You know what? The more I read about this company, the more I like this investment. It reminds me a little bit of how NEO is to Tesla. So the way I've looked at this stock is you've got Tesla that's been up, rocketed up ridiculously high, 800 billion, trillion pound valuation. And that being up there at that crazy high price, that's what's driven NEO and these other electric cars to push up in price so much, is because you've got Tesla as that beacon there, that, you know, the goal of what all electric cars can get to one day, hopefully, you know. And I think personally, we need to keep a close eye on NEO, a close eye on Tesla. I'm not invested in Tesla, because of the price of it. But if Tesla comes falling down, the rest of the EV market will as well. But anyway, with Tesla being that high, I think that's the only reason companies like NEO and XPeng and Li Auto and all them kind of companies have rocketed up so high, just because of that Tesla price. And I think with Forest Road Acquisitions, FRX, it's going to be the same thing with Peloton. You've got Peloton sitting there at 150, 160 a share, whatever it is. And with FRX being a really similar business, go and watch my video on that if you don't know who they are. They're very, very similar to Peloton, maybe a little bit better in certain cases. Their revenue is not that far away from Peloton. It's about half of the revenue of Peloton, not a million miles away, you know, a lot closer than the gap between NEO and Tesla. So I think with Peloton up there as the little beacon of light, I think FRX is going to do very, very well over the next few months. So that's one that I actually picked up even more shares in. I know we got in already at 11 something or other. Well, it's dropped down on Friday to I think 11.80-ish, something around that mark. So I bought a load more of it. That's one that I'm really confident in for the long term. Yeah, highly recommend that stock, although I'm not a financial advisor, so please remember that. Yeah, that's definitely one to look at, and that's one that I bought on Friday. The next stock that I bought was ACIC. Now, I haven't covered them in the past, but if you'd like to see a video covering that, let me know in the comments below and I'll put something together for you guys. But basically, they are merging with Archer, which are the vertical takeoff and landing vehicle things. We've seen a lot of hype around this kind of stuff. When they confirmed the merger a couple of days ago, actually, during all this crash, we saw the price go from 10, I think, up to about 16, 16.50. And then it's come all the way back down now to 11.70, something around that mark. So that's another one that I bought. Again, we're quite close to that $10 floor. You know, we're only like 15%. I know that's quite a big drop, but I would never expect it to go all the way to $10 because obviously they've confirmed. But if there is a big market crash, well, 10% or so won't seem such a big deal compared to what everything else is doing. And if hopefully I'm right and the market does turn around early next week, then I could see that one really rocketing up as well. A lot of excitement around that. On top of that, Kathy Woods from ARK Invest bought into this last week. So yeah, this is just one of those hype stocks that really for me is going to be a swing trade. So I've loaded up on that. I say I'll probably sell off my initial investment on that as soon as that starts moving. So probably around the 16-ish mark, I'd probably sell off maybe 1/3 of my shares around that sort of mark, and probably find another SPAC near $10 to buy into, or something else that's really, really red. But this is one of those ones that I expect to rocket up when the market does turn. The next one that I bought into was ALTU. Now, these guys haven't even confirmed yet, so this is a pre-merger one. The reason I picked this one up is, again, the shares are really cheap. I think they're around 11.20, around that sort of mark, so the downside was very small. But we pretty much know these guys are merging with a supersonic aircraft company. I'm going to do a little video on this company a bit later, especially once the merger's confirmed, because we'll get a little bit more detail. But from what I gather, these guys basically will be producing supersonic planes so that they can fly 1,000 miles an hour, but actually powered by a green fuel. It's just, I've got to do a bit more reading into it, but effectively they suck carbon dioxide out of the air and turn that into jet fuel, pretty much. It's apparently a really green way of doing it. It sounds very interesting. I think it's the kind of thing Kathy Woods would probably get into. It's very, very cheap right now. Again, it's not something I'm going to hold on to for a long time, but it's just one of those stocks that we know they're announcing any day now. So I'd rather be in that as well. I could see that having quite a boom. Again, though, I'll take my investment out as soon as that starts moving slowly, and I'll probably leave the house's money to ride on it just to see what happens. But yeah, that's the next one that I bought. I bought some more PSAC just because it had come down so much. I know not everybody agrees with me on this one, but I actually really like Faraday futures. There's something about the car I really like. I'm looking at Fisker. That thing's rocketed up to 28 or whatever it is, probably more than that by now. You've got CCIV, you've got Lords down at $20, and this is sitting down there at it went down to $14. So my base price was down in the 11s, I think, somewhere like that when we did the first video on PSAC. Yeah, seeing it down at the 14.20 mark or something around there. It might have even been 13.95, around that sort of mark it went down to. I bought some more of that on Friday, topped up my shares on that. You've probably already seen my video where I have a funny feeling that they may be working with Apple, but I'm probably wrong. Watch that video if you want to see why. There's a little bit more news on that actually, so I'll do another little video on that later. If you want to see it, let me know in the comments below. Yeah, I bought some more Faraday futures. The next SPAC stock that I bought was DMYI. Now, you might not have heard of this with all the market craziness that was going on last week, but these guys are merging with a company, Carbon C, I think they're called, and they basically make a quantum computer, supposedly the fastest quantum computer in the world. Now, I bought this because I thought, well, how many companies are there going to come on the market that are going to offer the fastest quantum computer, the fastest computer in the world? You know, this to me is like a, you know, one of those ones that doesn't come up very often. When they announced, I think the shares rocketed up about 30%. But obviously with everything going on in the market, they crashed back down again. So that was another one that I grabbed. That was actually on Thursday, I think I grabbed that one, because I've seen a little rise in it since I picked it up. But basically, you can kind of think about this quantum computing as pretty much a huge jump from normal computing speed. So for many of you, probably think of a hard drive and switch into a solid state drive. This is kind of the same thing, that kind of level of improvement, but on the, you know, the chip side of things. So yeah, it's just a company that, again, I think I could see people like ARK getting involved in. It really depends on how they get on in the future and whether this technology is actually usable and they can make it commercially viable. However, again, as is most of my investments, I'm really just there for the swing. So I'm in there very cheap with very little downside. And again, hopefully if the market all sort of picks up on the early parts of next week, we should see a nice rise in that one. And I say if the market crashes, well, we don't have much downside on it, so we can probably sell that off and get something else that's, you know, I mean, you never know. If there was a huge crash and the market came down 80%, which has happened before, we saw it in March. It happened to Tesla, it happened to NIO, it happened to all them companies. You know, think you can grab, you know, NIO and Tesla again if you wanted to and ride that back up again. Although I say I don't think that will happen, so I'm not poo-pooing NIO and Tesla at this point. I say we need Tesla up there at that high price for all this stuff to work with the EV market booming. You know, if we want that to continue, we need Tesla to stay up there. So we should all be hoping that Tesla stays up there at the 700, 800, 900 mark. The next stock that I picked, and as I say, I've got quite a few of these, I've been on an absolute spending spree last week, is AHAC. Now, again, you probably haven't heard of these. These are, again, another SPAC near the floor. I think they're 1120, 1150, around that mark. These guys are actually merging with a company that can 3D print, pretty much. It's not 3D print, but it's printing organs, printing blood vessels, effectively. It's not actually a printer. What they do is, to give you a very brief example, from what I understand, again, because I'm not a healthcare person, but they can make you a artery. So say you've got clogged artery, these guys can basically grow your blood cells around pretty much a plastic tube, remove the plastic tube, and they have an artery. There's obviously a lot more to it than that, but they have actually done transfers in animals and had 100% success rate because they're not rejected because it's made by their own DNA. And what's more, they also do stuff like, we were going through their website and they do stuff like lungs. So they've actually grown lungs out of people's blood or out of animal blood. And again, they've actually tested these bypasses and they work. Pretty crazy technology if this actually, if this actually is true. Now, again, I don't know. I'm not normally involved in this sector. One of the guys in my Facebook group, in fact, about 3 of the guys in one of the Facebook groups I'm in had recommended this stock to me. And obviously when I did a bit of reading on it, I thought, wow, this almost sounds too good to be true. Anyway, I'm in this very cheap. I have, if it's, if it all goes wrong, well, it's only going to go to $10. I'll probably again be just in this for the hype. So I'm hoping that again, when the market picks up and everything's back to normal, we should see a nice rise in this. And again, I'll probably take my profits out of that. Maybe when I've made 50%, I'll probably sell off 50% of my shares and maybe let the rest run, that kind of stuff. So that's the next one that I bought. The next SPAC I bought is SNPR. So SNPR, they've already confirmed they're merging with Volta, which is a charging network. It's one that I missed out on and I saw it run up. I thought, oh, damn it, I missed that one. Well, now I've got the chance to buy in. I was actually so surprised to see this come down so cheap. I think it was around the $12 mark. Again, hugely cheap for this company. I mean, they've been up double that price almost. And obviously this has had a real effect on them. But these actually look like really nice chargers. They have advertising, so they're a little bit different to the other charging networks. From what I gather, they basically have a advertising screen on the front of it, so they make revenue through the advertising as well as just through the charging of the vehicles. So yeah, I always like the look of the Volta stuff. I thought they looked like the best chargers just to look at. So again, that's just one that I bought in on. I'm pretty confident that will rocket up when everything's back to normal. So again, it's just another safe place to park my money. Can't see much downside on a stock like that. So again, this is another one that I picked up shares in. So yeah, that's basically what I've picked up and that's what I've got for you today. I hope that maybe I've chucked out a few ideas there for you to go and look into. A lot of really interesting companies. Let me know in the comments below if I missed any really good SPACs that I could get in on, because I've still got a little bit left in NSTB that we bought into last week, still down. I've not really lost anything on that, so I'm happy to sell that for something that might move up a bit quicker. So I'd love some suggestions from you guys if I've missed something, because it is just me sitting in front of the computer doing my research. I don't have a team. I don't have a Patreon group of people helping me. So you've got to bear that in mind. I'm quite limited to how much I can actually read in one day, although I do spend a lot of time doing it. Yeah, I hope this video was a little bit helpful for some of you guys. Cleared up a little bit of the panic over the market. Remember, stay calm. This is a great buying opportunity. It's these times when the market is down, these are the times when you really make the money. When you can, if you can time it right, And you know, people say don't catch a falling knife. Well, you know what? I make most of my money catching falling knives. I completely disagree with that. I'm not one of these people that dollar cost averages in and that kind of stuff either. I buy with conviction. You know, if like I say SNTP, you know, that was down at say 11.75. I'm not going to dollar cost average in and buy a bit here and buy a bit there. Friday, I saw it come down. I want this position in it. I'm buying it. I know it may drop down a bit more, but overall, that's a great price to buy the company. Very little downside, lots of upside. So anyway, that's my thinking behind it. That's how I deal with it. Keep an eye on that monthly rotation, because that monthly up and down movement, because again, I say it's something not everybody talks about. I haven't personally seen anyone on YouTube talking about it, but again, I say I could be following the wrong people. There's probably loads of traders out there that are, you know, that talk about this sort of stuff all the time. But in case you didn't know, keep that in mind, you know, because each month we have that, you can prepare yourself for it. You can actually really grow your portfolio quicker than you were if you didn't know that. So just keep that in mind. So I hope this video helped a few of you. I say, if you've got any questions or anything like that, you can always message me in the comments below. I do see them. And also I've got my Stockwits account, which, you know, dissecting the market. If you put that in Stockwits, you should find me on there. You can always chat to me on there. If you found this video helpful, you like what I'm doing, remember to subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you on the next one.